Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is brought to you in part by Tom's Place, the finest in men's fashion, located in Toronto at 190 Baldwin Street, in the heart of Kensington Market. Or visit toms-place.com. And by Pete's Pizza, celebrating 40 years serving the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls area. Pete's Pizza. Life is not about finding yourself, it's about finding pizza. If you're hungry, visit petespizzaniagara.ca. Celebrating 5 years. This is Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
If you listen to this show, you'll know who invented the toilet seat. But what else did he invent?
Oh, okay. I'll tell you about this invention that's better than, well, sliced bread. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy. And this week, and for the last 5 years, we've been scouring the internet to find out this just for you.
Plus, we'll answer a question from one of our listeners, Susan. What the tuck? And in the news, he used ducks as a cover.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Innovations, ideas. The Totally Useless Information Podcast presents Inventions.
We haven't done Inventions in a while. Thank you for joining us week after week for the past 5 years. We've been entering your living rooms, your devices. We had an email from one of our listeners. She listens to our show. She takes one of those radios and she tucks it underneath the pillow. And this way her husband doesn't want to hear it. So she listens to our show secretly. So she's having like a little secret useless information affair.
We live inside people's heads, Nick.
That's right. That's right. There's so much room in there. We can have a party of 7. Okay. So this morning when I brush my teeth, actually I brush my teeth twice a day because it's important. I also rinse with Listerine. During the Victorian era, only because my friends told me, please do something. During the Victorian era, Dr. Joseph Lister was a doctor who understood the power of keeping clean. He discovered that the patient's mortality rate dropped when he properly washed his hands and equipment. By using carbolic acid to keep things sterilized, his patients were unlikely to develop sepsis. Now, that makes a lot of sense, right, Dr. Joseph Lister? Do you think he invented Listerine? Nope.
Oh, no, don't tell me It's not him.
It wasn't him. It wasn't until 1879 that a chemist named Jordan Wheat Lambert, 3 names, so he must be important, decided to create an antiseptic and named it after Dr. Joseph Lister, Listerine.
Wow. And folks, you have to take what Nick's saying because it's firsthand. Nick was there during the Victorian
That's right. You know what? It was a Victorian secret, if you ask me.
I found out that Listerine has alcohol in it. I've been drinking it ever since. You know?
Well, because of that, actually, you know what? You do bring up a serious point, though. Because of the alcohol content, Listerine was forced to start producing non-alcoholic versions of it for that very reason, because people were actually having problems with it. So there you go. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, Steve Jobs, the inventor of the Apple computer, said that the Mac computer would not have been a success had he not taken a course in calligraphy in high school. He took a course in calligraphy, which calligraphy, of course, is the study of type, like the way words are written and letters are written.
Right.
So calligraphy, he took it and enjoyed it so much that he incorporated it into the first Mac computer that you could change the fonts. Oh. It automatically becomes the go-to computer for graphics and graphic artists. And it becomes a success because of his course he took in high school in calligraphy.
Yeah, of course, you read that wrong. You thought he took a course in Caligula. It's a totally different course.
Yes, exactly.
So I know.
Why, did you hear something else?
No, I didn't. So as I'm looking to you, because we're 1,500 miles away. Roy is in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm in Toronto, Canada. And we do this by Zoom. And so I see him through the camera, and I've noticed he has a tinfoil hat. And so I wondered, where does tinfoil come from? Where did it come from? Okay?
Mr. Reynolds?
Aluminum foil or silver foil wasn't created until the 1900s in France. Although lots of people still call it tin foil, it's in fact made from aluminum.
Aluminum, yeah.
Used for everything from lining baking tins to steaming vegetables and fish and wrapping up leftovers. It's one of the most common kitchen items. And outside of the kitchen, of course, during the Second World War, it was used to deceive German bombers. It's also a huge bonus because tin foil is widely recyclable.
Yeah, you wrap those bombers up in tinfoil, they stay fresh much longer.
That's right. Yeah. The last thing you want is a stale bomb.
I got a great one for you. We talk about inventions, right? It's
Yes.
a category on our show.
That's right.
What is the first major invention?
Major invention. The wheel.
That's what everyone said that I
Am I
asked.
right? Am I right? No?
No, of course not.
Oh, thank you. Of course. Thank you.
But one thing, you're consistent, Nick.
That's true. That is true.
It is the controlling of fire. Without it, we go nowhere because fire changed everything. People no longer left an area to migrate because of the temperature changes because they could stay warm.
Yeah.
They could cook. They could use fire to do a lot of things like smelting. If it's not for fire, there is no real evolution of man.
Yeah. You said smelting. Whoever smelted dealt it. That's what I think is what you meant.
That's a very scientific.
It is.
That'll be the next category.
It is. All right. So, well, if you have fire, maybe you're heating up a Pyrex jar or bottle.
Oh, the king of Segway.
Having a glass dish that isn't going to smash during cooking is something everyone, well, they like to have that because otherwise it'd be a mess. And we have to thank Bessie Littleton. She was sick of having glass dishes breaking after one use in the oven. This has nothing to do with her cooking abilities, but anyway, and asked her engineer husband if she could borrow some of his company Corning's Nonex glass to bake a cake in. It was a success. And after much experimenting, the company launched Pyrex, made from composite glass resistant to drastic changes in temperature and that can withstand both hot and cold. And the Pyrex dish immediately became a hit with all the cooks, whether you can cook or not.
Yeah. We got a lot of Pyrex here in the house that my wife bought. It's brand new.
Right.
We've got it about 10 years.
Right. And she'll smash it over your head.
The other day I said, "Where's the roast?" I open up the dishwasher, it's in there. She doesn't know the difference, Nick.
That's right. She wanted to rinse it before she cooked it.
There's a man named Robert Cheeseborough. He's a slick character.
Why?
He invented petroleum jelly.
Oh, slick. Oh, I see what you did there. So yeah, okay. Gotcha.
He invented it for him and a couple of friends of his. But
Right. Yes.
but did you know
Yes.
that Mr. Cheeseborough ate a spoonful of petroleum jelly
Why?
every single day?
Why?
He said it would help him live longer and it would lubricate his system. Of course, Mr. Cheeseborough is the man who was never constipated in his life.
No.
In fact, he would shoot it across the street. But anyway, but Mr. Cheeseborough lived to 96 years of age.
And every day he took a spoonful of petroleum jelly.
Ever since he invented it, yeah.
Wow.
And so on the last day of his 96th year,
Right.
he took a spoonful and kicked the bucket and
Right.
slid into a coffin.
Right. Well, how convenient. He was, they called him slick around the lab.
Yeah.
So here's my teaser. Sliced bread. Humans have been baking bread for thousands and thousands of years. In fact, Roy was his first job was delivering bread door to door. But the bread slicer was only invented in 1928 by a jeweler, Otto Fred.
Wait a second.
What?
Why am I delivering bread door to door?
Because people need bread.
Okay.
What? It was one of your first jobs, wasn't it? Before they invented newspapers, right? They baked bread for thousands of years. You were there to deliver it, no? You see
Oh,
what I did there?
now I got you,
Okay.
Nick. It's
So,
a touche.
right, or not touche, that is the question. In
I won't say
1928,
any more dirty French words.
no,
Go
you
ahead.
won't, because you'll offend half of the population of Canada, which, by the way, speaking of segues, we are on the iHeartRadio Canada Talk Network, coast to coast to
Yeah.
coast. So thank you for listening. So it was a jeweler, Otto Frederick Rowetter. Bedwetter, yes. In 1928, it was invented by a jeweler, Otto Frederick Rowetter, not Bedwetter. A newspaper at the time noted that people may find sliced bread startling because it could also deliver a thrill of pleasure. Could you imagine slicing bread gave you a thrill of pleasure? Wow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very
It
exciting.
didn't take long before it was a hit with all the households around the U.S. I could just imagine, bringing like sliced bread into the bedroom. Hey, honey, I got a thrill of pleasure right here, and it's whole wheat. It's good for us.
Yeah. Hold on to your nightgown. I got an entire loaf
Yeah.
of sliced bread.
Yeah, and you know what she says after it's all done? It's been a slice.
Yeah. He's like in a stick of butter.
Exactly.
Let's come up with a good idea, shall we?
Absolutely.
My tease was who invented the toilet seat. If you
Right.
listen to this show, you'd understand that a guy named Joseph Brahma
Right.
invented the toilet seat.
Okay.
But then he also invented something else that we use a lot, maybe not every day, but everybody has seen one, either used one or gotten something out of one.
Right.
And that would be Joseph Brahma also invented the beer tap, the system for draft beer. Now, I was thinking, what did he invent first? And I can't seem to get the actual thing on which one he invented first. It would make sense if he invented beer,
right,
and then invented the urinal. That would make sense.
Yeah, it would.
But the toilet seat, not so sure. But he did invent the toilet seat and the beer tap.
Yeah. You know
not to be mistaken.
No.
Don't drink out of the toilet.
No. So you know what I think? I think he invented the toilet seat first because while he was sitting there thinking, because that's where all the great people do their thinking, he came up with the beer tap while he was sitting.
Really? I think he invented it second. He got so drunk on beer that he got ill, and rather than his head falling into the toilet bowl, he invented the toilet seat to hold his head up.
Exactly.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. To access the full library of episodes, visit nickandroy.com. That's nickandroy.com.
For the past little while, you've heard us talk about Pete's Pizza. We told you that Pete's Pizza knows the only way to make the perfect pizza is by using the freshest ingredients.
Every day they roll out their own dough to create their signature pizzas topped with only the freshest ingredients.
And since 1984, the 6 Niagara locations have been known as the small pizzeria that's big on taste and easy on the budget. With locations across St. Catharines and Niagara Falls, they're just minutes away from some of the best pizza and wings in town.
They're always open late, so find a Pete's Pizza near you. Hey, you know what? The holidays are just around the corner, and now is the time to call someone you trust with your office gathering, your private party at home, or maybe both. Visit Pete'sPizzaNiagara.ca. That's their website, Pete'sPizzaNiagara.ca. For 40 years, Pete's Pizza is family-owned and operated, and they are generous and give back to the community. If you're in charge of the food and beverages for your holiday parties, visit Pete'sPizzaNiagara.ca.
It's really, honestly, a testimonial. It's some of the best pizza you're ever going to have in Canada. Life is not about yourself. It's about finding pizza.
Pete's Pizza.
We're back with totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Thank you for listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. For the past 5 years, we've been telling you about all these useless information facts. And then, you know what we invented? We invented a website, nickandroy.com. You see how clever we are? nickandroy.com. And if you go to the Nick and Roy store and you go to where it says birthdays, you can order a very special birthday message for your loved one.
Yeah. Listen, the best gift you could buy for someone, and I am not joking when I say this, This is testimonial after testimonial after testimonial on our email for people who have bought a birthday message for their loved ones. And I'm going to tell you right now, amazing. The response is amazing. It is a great gift. Go on to nickandroy.com, click on the Nick and Roy store. You'll see birthday messages. There's a sample there. Listen to it and tell me if you don't think that that would be a great gift for someone that you know. Hell, buy one for yourself.
Exactly. nickandroy.com.
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
Still the most popular jingle.
Yeah, science, science, science. Listen, this got me because computers were invented, and as we know, Nick, from you and me being in high school together, Nick actually got the computer to take home over the summer. He won the contest.
Yeah.
And we lugged this massive, I can remember bringing it through your door, the basement door, and holding the door open so we don't break it. And it was like gold,
Yeah.
But that was in the earlier 80s. But then computers start becoming more and more common in the household. When do you think the first computer virus was made?
Probably 2 weeks after the computer was invented, after Steve Jobs finished his Caligula course.
Well, no, it's many years later, but it's in 1983 that the first computer virus is created. And that makes a lot of sense. Probably could get it on a disk at the time. They were corrupted disks. But
there were, yep.
Yeah. In fact, I watched a corrupted disc one time and all the women had no clothing on.
Yeah, exactly. It was corrupt because it was supposed to have clothing on. So we talked about in a previous episode how astronauts can, have fun up in space, if you know what I mean. Here's another question about astronauts. Can they whistle on the moon?
Ooh, can you whistle on the moon?
That's right. And, people figure there's so
That's useless as hell. That is great, Nick.
Well, that's why we call it totally useless information. With Nick and Roy, I'm Nick and he's Roy. You see how we all put it together? We're so smart, it's useless. So if with all the holes you're thinking in the moon, there's got to be a way to whistle, right? No, wrong. Even if you wanted to, you can't whistle on the moon, simply because the moon has no atmosphere. Former astronaut Dr. Dan Barry found this out when flying on one of the STS-96, like a space shuttle, in 1999. He said in an interview, you can't whistle because the air pressure in the suit is only 4.3 pounds per square inch, and the normal atmospheric pressure is 14.7 psi. So there's not enough air molecules blowing by your lips to make a sound. However, after having, those freeze-dried broccoli food things, there's plenty of air to go around.
Yeah, I would think so. They're tooting away. Maybe not whistling, but...
Right, they're tooting away.
I love this one. The human eye is a color expert. Okay. Having said that, listen to this. The human eye can decipher up to 10 million shades of color. It's so precise.
Really?
So it literally can decipher, let's say, a million shades of red and a million shades of blue and a million shades of yellow, because it's so precise. And when you have 20/20 vision, the picture is so precise that it needs to put the shades and colors in the correct spots.
The fact that they know this, like how do they count them? Do they lose count after like 3 million? Oh, let's start again.
I don't know, but I do know this. When you have 20/20 vision, that's what happens. And as I've gotten older, my vision's become much less precise. And I've looked at Nick a lot differently. Thank God my vision has changed.
Yeah, I'm full of colors. Yes, my true colors. Your brain is constantly eating itself. But then again,
it's like that course I took.
Yeah, in Caligula, yeah. This isn't a weird form of cannibalism, in case you're wondering. The brain is just undergoing a process known as phagocytosis.
You're going to hear something funny, Nick.
Yeah.
I taught this in school. When I taught biology, I taught about phagocytosis. And there's a lot of different phagocytoses happening in the body. But go through yours, and then I'll explain.
Well, thank you for that. And so we'll have an expert to talk about phagocytosis. Cells will eat smaller cells or molecules to remove them from the system. These white blood cells consume pathogens to get rid of them and their disruptive influence in our bodies. This helps keep the brain running as it does. As the brain functions, it produces a lot of unusable byproducts. Oh, that's so this show. And it has to get rid of the debris somehow. And so this is the process in which it's done. So elaborate on that a bit.
Okay, so very quickly. Phagocytosis happens in the body a lot. But one of the main phagocytosis phenomenons is the fact that your brain, or most people's brains, are separate from their body. Maybe not Nick.
Right.
But your brain will actually tell your body what to do as though your brain is in control of a machine. Like your brain is the brain and your body is the robot.
Right.
Your brain will eat calcium because the body needs calcium to survive for your bone structure and so on. So muscles and bones need calcium. Well, guess what?
What?
Your brain will tell your body to get calcium. If you're not intaking enough calcium, it will rob it from the bones. It will eat calcium out of your bones until your body falls apart. Thus, osteoporosis. People's bones just become brittle.
That, yeah. Osteoporosis, yeah.
And that is due to phagocytosis.
You know, every once in a while, we need to apologize to our audience. The name of the show is Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. That was completely useful.
Never, you don't hear that sound very much on this show, huh?
No, we dusted it off. Yes.
I love this one, so get your pens ready, folks. Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune. What are they, Nick?
Yeah, no, those are planets, of course. Those are planets. We learned them early on.
Planets, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune.
Right.
Well, all the planets in our solar system, are named after gods or goddesses.
Okay.
Except for one, Earth. We are the only planet in our solar system not named after a god or a goddess.
People have often referred to you as a goddess.
A god, Nick.
God. Yes. Oh, sorry.
Not a god, Nick. A god.
God.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. Yeah. Comma, Nick.
Yeah.
Just like very much like our show, our brains in our show, 90% of snow is air. Have you ever wondered why animals burrow deep in snow to hibernate? It's because it's made up of 90% air. Snow is made up of frozen water crystals, and because there's so much air surrounding each of these tiny crystals, most of the total volume of a snow layer is made up of air.
Like what's inside your head, mostly.
That's what I said. What, did you not hear what I said before? Exactly. You just proved so much air that's in your head.
I was releasing some of the hot air out of my head.
Exactly.
She bit me.
Why?
I like this one, too. Guess what, folks? You're out on a beautiful day. You got a little barbecue going, and bam, you get bit by a mosquito. Well, guess what? You don't have to tell whether it's a male or a female because only a female mosquito will bite you and suck blood.
Oh, really? Okay.
Male mosquitoes don't do that. They just sit back and watch in pleasure.
Yes. The male mosquito sits back and goes, "Oh, baby, bite her one more time."
Bite her.
Yeah.
Bite me.
Well,
They say bite me.
Well, you know what Mrs. Mosquito said to Mr. Mosquito when she went out? "Honey, I'll be right back. I'm going out for a bite." I mean, that's basically the conversation that they have at the mosquitoes.
That was really bad.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy continues. Listen, laugh, and learn.
We've heard situations where if you sort of one of your limbs becomes disengaged from your body, and they said that if you really put it back right away and you put ice on it and rush to the emergency room, it can pretty much be salvaged, right? More or less, depending on timing.
Yeah.
So in this science fact on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, you can replant your tooth if it gets knocked out. Knocking out a tooth is a medical emergency, and you can try putting it back in place, and then, of course, you go to a dentist immediately. The sooner a knocked out tooth is reimplanted, the more likely it is to embed itself back into the gum. But if you can't replant it, put it in milk and see a dentist right away. When a tooth is knocked out, the damaged nerves and blood vessels cannot be saved, but the bone and tissues that normally cover the root can be reattached simply by soaking it in milk.
Yeah, well, in Alabama, when they knock a tooth out, they're like, oh, let's go replant it, and they put it in the ground. We'll get more tooths.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly.
Also, funny story, we knew a guy who was a carpenter, and he literally cut his hand off with a big saw.
Right.
He cut his hand right off.
Right.
They threw the hand in a cooler with ice and milk.
Okay.
They reattached his hand. He has limited use of one or two fingers, but he does have use of his hand and fingers. Insane.
It is. Just as insane as this show. Totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Another thing you can do on our website, you can be part of our show. You know, if you go to nickandroy.com, you click on where it says, there's a microphone icon, actually. You click on record a message for Nick and Roy, and then you click on it, and we'll get it in our inbox, and then we'd love to have you part of our show. So go to nickandroy.com and click on the microphone.
This is totally useless vehicle information with Nick, Meet, and Roy.
You know, I wanted to make sure that all of the intros are correct, and so every time I hear that one with Nick, Meet, and your vroom vroom. So I have to ask the voice lady why she came up with that, because all we did was we said to her, here's...
I would appreciate you didn't ask her that question, Nick.
The world record for removing and replacing a car engine is the amount of time that Roy's love-making sessions last. The world record for removing and replacing a car engine is 42 seconds. It was achieved by...
Hey.
What?
I don't give up 1 second for anybody. My lovemaking is 43 seconds.
43 seconds. Yeah, 42 US, 43 Canadian. It was achieved by 5 UK Royal Marines on a Ford Escort in 1985.
Wow, 43 seconds. That's insane.
It is.
Think about it. It's not even a minute.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But then again, it was a Ford Escort. Did it actually have an engine?
Maybe not.
They were like, excuse me, gerbil on a wheel.
You know what? Maybe they misunderstood. These poor guys in 1985, these royal, maybe, I don't know how old they were. Maybe they're quite young, and they thought, oh, they're gonna introduce us to an escort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought they were gonna get lucky.
Right.
Well, anyway, I love this one. The world's heaviest limousine, not to be confused with the world's heaviest high school girl who Nick dated. But not that there's anything wrong with that, Nick.
No, not at all.
The world's heaviest limousine. I know you all want to know. 50,000 pounds. It had 3 lounges in it, a bar, and carried 40 people. Guinness World Book of Records, 50,000-pound limousine.
A modern Formula One car can drive upside down in a tunnel at 120 miles per hour. The ability of a modern Formula One car to drive upside down in a tunnel is a remarkable feat of engineering and aerodynamics. Formula One cars are designed with advanced aerodynamic principles that generate immense downforce, pressing the car firmly onto the track or the road surface. This downforce is crucial for maintaining high speeds and maneuverability through the corners on conventional racetracks, of course. Are you a Formula One fan? Are you a racing fan at all?
Do you remember going to the Formula One?
We did. Did we see a crash or something?
Yeah, don't you remember we went to the Meadowlands and we saw the Le Mans Formula One cars?
Right, okay,
and
yeah.
Mario Andretti was driving. That's how long ago it was.
Mario Andretti, wow, there's a blast.
Isn't that
from
amazing?
it.
Oh, no, I think it was his son. It might have been his son. I don't remember exactly, but I do enjoy it. I just, it's hard to go like we did. We had really great seats in a pit area, so
Yeah,
we
we
got
did.
to see that.
We did.
It was really good, but
It was good.
yeah.
I mean, the best part of it was, and then, you know what, people like really cruel. They said, don't look at that crash. What, the race is over? Poor people.
Yeah. People like to see the crashes and stuff like that. So I thought it was kind of nice of my wife to throw Nick into the street as the cars were going by,
Yeah.
just to create one.
Yeah, people, you're absolutely right. I will not dispute that because people do listen to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. They love to see car wrecks. One last thing: the negative lift is effectively keeps the car adhered to the tunnel ceiling, allowing it to maintain a high speed of 120 miles per hour without falling. And of course, you know what they're playing on the radio. Lionel Richie's Dancing on the Ceiling. I had to do that.
You had to do that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I wish you would. Wish you wouldn't have.
Okay.
No. The first cars, Nick, did not have steering wheels, which I'm sure you're very aware of.
Very much so.
But
Yeah.
they had two levers attached to each wheel. And if you wanted to turn, you push the levers into the direction, which then turned the wheels into the direction. But I'm sure that was a little complicated.
Now, you drive pretty fast. I've seen you drive, my goodness. But then again, you're the reason why they invented that bumper sticker. If you don't like the way I drive, stay off the sidewalk. Where in the world are there the world's fastest police cars?
Ooh.
Any guesses? According to the Guinness Book of Records.
New Jersey?
No,
State Troopers?
no, close. Dubai.
Oh, very close, huh?
Yeah, very close. Exactly. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Including
Actually, New Jersey, it sounded like New Jersey. They say, Dubai the fastest car.
Jeez. Nick, go to nickandroy.com, click on Contact Us. The complaint line forms here.
Leave us a voice message.
Leave us a voice message on nickandroy.com. So the fastest police cars has a 16-cylinder engine and produces 1,000 horsepower and can reach speeds up to 253 miles per hour, or in case you're Canadian, 407 kilometers an hour, and jump from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
The cops in Dubai aren't too smart because when a guy's speeding past them, they chase him with this 1,000 horsepower car, and as they pass him, they go, "Ha ha, we won!"
Absolutely.
What, Nick, is the world's record for the lowest street legal car? It's crazy.
Like
You
above
know
the
how
ground?
they have they lower the cars,
Yeah.
these kids?
Yeah.
Well, somebody invented a street legal car called the Flatmobile,
Right.
19 inches high off the ground. Now, an average car is almost 5 feet off the ground. So 19 inches. I would assume it was a convertible because otherwise, how would you fit into it? But it was 19 inches high and it was street legal.
But why?
Why, Nick?
I know,
Why?
Yeah, these young hipsters.
Yeah, if we had to delve into the answer of the question of why, Nick, it wouldn't be useless information.
Exactly. In the city of Boulder, Colorado, the transportation staff were dispatched out to city streets on a special mission to remove illegally posted traffic signs in 4 locations. Now, what's different about these signs? Well, they were quite vulgar. The signs use some choice words for drivers, asking them to put their blank cell phones down, avoid distracted driving, and obey the posted speed limit blank. And according to Boulder police, they said they don't know who posted the signs or when they were posted. The police chief says they appreciate the fact that it's drawing attention to the fact that we like the people to be safer on the roads and to not be distracted by their phones, but there are more appropriate ways, I would think, to get the message out.
I'm guessing that it's a concerned citizen that is kind of fed up with some of the behavior they're seeing in their neighborhoods or in other neighborhoods. So, I definitely appreciate the gesture behind, I think, what they were intending to do. But, like we said, it is a crime. And there's definitely other means that people could take to try to let us know of these behaviors.
So they're investigating this. If you're in the Boulder, Colorado area, I'm going to give out a phone number. Or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe people call up and say something like, is your refrigerator running?
I have a good question, Nick.
What's the question?
Do the people in Pebble, Colorado, have an inferiority complex to the people that live in Boulder? Just asking,
It's a great question, really.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information.
Attention, men. It's Black Friday, the absolute best time to restock your wardrobe. Look your best. from the office, events, or nights out.
Hi, Nick and Roy for Tom's Place, and they have you covered with sharp business casuals, stylish sports jackets, and sophisticated suits or tuxedos, brand name labels for less. Along with the Black Friday sale, Tom is introducing Making the Great Canadian Suit Sale Great Again sale.
I love that. That's awesome. So unlock their door crashers. You see how I did that, Nick?
Yeah.
Unlock the door crashers. But get ready, guys. Top designers, Ted Baker suits. I love Ted Baker suits.
Well, they're known for exquisite tailoring, regularly $900 to $1,100. Now an incredible $500. Did you hear that? Normally $900 to $1,100. The Ted Baker suits now $500. I was talking to Tom just this morning, and I told him that you and I were going to talk about this, and told me that Ted Baker suits are made in Italy and Canada, exquisite tailoring, and of course, they can be altered to any measure that you need because they have amazing tailors at Tom's Place. Don't miss this exclusive deal.
Now, Nick, you know I have over 28 suits and suit jackets, and sport coats.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorites are Ted Baker. They are tailored so perfectly. And $500 for a Ted Baker suit. Anybody that's ever bought one knows you're going to pay $1,000 for that suit. But not at Tom's Place. You can also find selected dress shirts for only $60 and designer suits starting at $650. Tom's slashing them to $375. Or an amazing, get ready for this one, 3 suits for $1,000.
Wow.
You can update your wardrobe for $1,000. Plus 50% off a huge selection of sports jackets. And there's more. Prices are slashed on the whole second floor for suits, sports jackets, dress shirts, and pants.
There's a lot of information that came your way. You can find all of this at their website, Tom's website, at toms-place.com. That's toms-place.com for details and more amazing deals. Tom's Place Black Friday sale is now on 190 Baldwin Street in the heart of Kensington Market.
And that's Tom's Place. Will suit you.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
What is the most stolen car in the U.S.? We've had this on the show, but that was 5 years ago. It's changed. How funny is this? The Hyundai Elantra is the #1 stolen car in the United States. The Hyundai Elantra. Get ready for number 2. I think number 2 was number 1 in the past. The Hyundai Sonata is number 2. Number 3 is the Kia Optima. Those are 3 cars at the top that are all from sister companies, Kia and Hyundai, Hyundai, whatever they call it.
Yes.
The Chevy Silverado 1500 pickup is number 4, and the Kia Soul is number 5. So in the top 5, Kia and Hyundai have 4 out of the top 5.
Yeah, don't buy those cars. I mean, they're great cars, I'm sure, but that's how popular they are. They take them.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have to pay the leases on them for long.
Exactly. And you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Welcome to the Totally Useless Information Fashion Show.
The hoop skirt.
Oh.
Nick wears one on the weekends when he goes to clubs.
Exactly. And they call me Hula Hoop for short.
They call him Nick the Hoople.
Yes, they do.
So the hoop skirt was invented and worn for the first time by Queen Juana of Portugal.
Oh, okay.
The reason it was invented was she wanted to hide her pregnancy.
Oh.
So she had a designer come to the royal whatever mansion and design a skirt that could hide the bulge of her pregnancy. And so the hoop skirt became a thing to wear because she was wearing it and then it caught on. But it was originally worn as a camouflage for her pregnancy.
Hey, how about some weird bathing suits? Victorian and Edwardian women wore long, heavy woolen dresses with capped sleeves to swim in, as well as their bloomers and caps and stockings. which sounds like a truly efficient way to drown yourself as quickly as possible. So,
What are they wearing? Like, why not just put some concrete in your pocket?
exactly.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
This one is Mika from Finland. I like that. That caught my eye. She says, great show. I listen every week and understand that you, Roy, live in Florida. Does it get cold in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
So, Mika, Florida is a very long state. In fact, it takes almost 8 hours to get out of Florida from where I live. So I live very southern Florida. So we have almost a Caribbean type temperature. It very rarely gets into the 30s, although sometimes it does. But we're cold down here when it's in the 50s. So
Wow.
we wear jackets and everything. You guys would be out playing out in the beach, but we don't. But upper Florida, like Jacksonville, towards the border of Florida and Georgia, it can get cold into the 30s. But in general, Florida does not see snow. It is extremely, extremely rare. So, Mika from Finland, thank you so much for asking that.
So I see. Okay, that's excellent. So are you finished with that from Finland? Okay, thank you. Susan from our neck of the woods here up in Canada. Oh, by the way, I got really excited when you said during your the temperatures in the 30s in Florida. In Celsius, that's really warm. It's really hot.
Yeah.
Right? Susan from Niagara Falls, Canada. She writes, Dear Nick and Roy, we love listening to your show. We love how you say the facts are that you present on the show is useless, but in fact, they're really interesting. My husband and I are having this ongoing discussion about our bed, and we hope you guys can help sort us out. Oh, boy.
About their what?
Their bed. Don't you love when listeners ask us to help them with their marital problems with their bed?
Yes.
Let's see. What
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm glad to know that others have marital problems.
Right, that's right. So here's your question. Oh, okay. Whew. All right, this is good. Do you know if most people prefer their bed sheets tucked in at the bottom or not? We look forward to your answer. So here's the bed sheet debate. Do you prefer a tuck or no tuck? A recent poll, Susan, found that 46% do like the top sheet tucked at the bottom, while 23% prefer no tuck. Anyone else said they don't care or they don't use a top sheet, just like you don't. There you go. So,
we don't use any sheets, Nick. We use our bodies to create warmth.
That's right. Exactly. Well, thank you, Susan. Hey, on the show today, we talked about inventions. We talked about science. We talked about cars. It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
A man believed to be under the influence of drugs, this is going to be fun, caused chaos at a California hospital after crawling into the emergency room ceiling and getting stuck. The man, a walk-in patient, entered San Antonio Regional Hospital and was last seen on surveillance footage entering a restroom. Upland Security Police said that the officers arrived to find he had broken through ceiling tiles somewhere above the ER. Footage of the rescue says that it's like, Scooby-Doo, where are you? That's hilarious.
Now, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
He goes into the bathroom.
Right.
And then climbs into the ceiling.
Right. That's right.
Now, my question is, before or after he used the facilities?
We're not sure. That's not clear in the report. Now, using a pole camera, maybe there's your answer, police located the man wedged underneath a steel beam on top of the HVAC unit in complete darkness. That's why in my tease I said he used ducts for cover. The man eventually responded to officers admitting he was stuck, unable to free himself.
Yeah, of course he was stuck, but what would make him go up there?
We don't know. The firefighters from San Bernardino County Fire Department spent nearly an hour extricating the man from the confined space.
They extricated him?
They did. They got him out of there. With filled with
okay.
wires.
I thought that was a $10 word.
It was.
I
wow.
thought it meant something else. I
Yeah.
thought they used the pole camera for something else.
That's right. It's a $10 word. It's $7.50 Canadian. So there were wires up there, plumbing, HVAC lines, and the incident caused over $5,000 in damage. in the hospital's ceiling, electrical wiring, and HVAC system. So despite the disruption, the hospital staff maintained uninterrupted emergency room services. So here's this guy stuck up in the ceiling, and they still continued about their work. So good for them. Thanks.
Could you imagine the PA system? Dr. Johnson, stat. Dr. Johnson needed in the ceiling, stat.
What code is that? I mean, code blue means cardiac arrest. A different
Well,
code
it's a
color.
good thing he was in the emergency room, because that was an emergency.
That's right. And then maybe the unidentified man, by the way, was arrested for felony vandalism and taken to jail. But I would imagine...
Should have been taken to the loony hatch.
The loony... That's right. Hey,
well, I'm glad that didn't happen in Florida, I'll tell you.
Not this week. Hey, thanks for joining us. This concludes this episode of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. We will scour the internet, as we have for the past 5 years, and find out more totally useless information just for you.
I'm still wondering what made the man climb into the ceiling. But until next week, tell every friend you know to listen to our show, because it's you that make it special. It's you that have made it successful for 5 years, and we love doing it for you.
Don't forget to go to nickandroy.com and leave us a voicemail message. I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy has been brought to you in part by Tom's Place, the finest in men's fashion. Located in Toronto at 190 Baldwin Street in the heart of Kensington Market. Or visit toms-place.com. And by Pete's Pizza, celebrating 40 years serving the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls area. Pete's Pizza. Life is not about finding yourself, it's about finding pizza. If you're hungry, visit petespizzaniagara.ca.